Welcome back everybody, I'm Atenas and this is Mode Bespoke. For today's project we're going to be making this Raglan sweater. You can make this sweater for babies, you can make it for adults, you can make it for men, women, children, boys, girls, whoever and however many of these you want. They're really quick and easy to make. It takes you just a quick weekend and you can have your own Raglan sweater. If you want information on how much yarn I used for this project and what hook size I used, check out the description below so that I don't bore you to tears giving you info. Check it out. You will need to go to my blog. I will put the link in the description below. There will be a size chart. You will need the size chart in order to know how many chains you will need to make to start the project. The sizing options start at newborn and they go all the way to adults, so you can make it in any size you want. Just be sure to go to the blog and check that out and find the sizing chart. So without further ado, let's get started. So like I told you guys in the intro, we are going to be using one skein of Super Saver Jumbo. This is a red heart yarn, size 4, medium, and we're going to also use an H hook. This is a 5mm hook. To get started, we're just going to begin with a slip knot. So wrap the yarn around your index finger and middle finger. Insert your hook into the loop that you've made with the yarn. You're going to grab some yarn and pull that through your loop. To tighten our slip knot, you're just going to pull on little threads at the bottom, and there you go. Now to the chain, the size of the chain will depend on the size that you're making, so please check out the sizing chart to know how long of a chain to make. For my chain, I'm just going to make about 80 stitches, and to make a chain, you just yarn over and pull through the loop. We yarn over and pull through the loop. Here we go again. Yarn over and pull through the loop. So I'll keep stitching a couple of more chains here, that way I can make my way around, and I'll see you again in a moment. So I have finished making my chain. Again, if you don't know how long to make the chain for your project, check in the description box below, and that's going to have the link to my blog. And on the blog, you're going to see all the different sizing options so that you can make this sweater in any size. Now, I've gone through all the way around to make sure that my chain is not twisted. You don't want your chain to be twisted at all. And we're going to go into this last stitch. So, or I guess the very first stitch we crocheted. Make sure you go under both loops. See, we got the one loop in the back. And we're going to connect our chain, and it's going to make one long circular chain. So we just yarn over and we pull through all the loops on our hook. There we go. We're going to have one loop left, and now here's our chain. Like I said, make sure you didn't twist it or it's going to twist your work. So to begin, we're just going to start by crochet a chain 1. So yarn over and pull through my loop. That's how we're going to start every row, and we're going to go into the very next stitch. So you see this stitch right over here? This guy. So that's the same stitch that we just started our chain in. We're going to go into the next one. That's this one right over here. So we're going to go into this stitch. See, it's right next to the one that we're currently working in, and we're going to go through the top loop. So let me get my hook back into my work, and we're going to make a herringbone, half double crochet herringbone stitch. So you need to yarn over, and then you're going to insert your hook into your stitch. Then we're going to yarn over again, and we're going to remove our hook from the stitch. And now we have 3 loops on our hook, so we're going to pass the first loop through the second loop. So first through the second. So you're just going to twist your hook over like that, and now you have 2 loops on your hook. To close your stitch, you're going to yarn over and pass through both loops. I'll show you again. I'm going to go into the next stitch. So you need to yarn over, and you're going to insert your hook into the stitch. There we go. So now we yarn over, and we're going to pull our hook out of the stitch. We're going to have 3 loops on our hook, and we're going to pass the first loop through the second loop. So just pull your hook a little and twist it as you go to make it a little easier. There we go. And now you have 2 loops on your hook. So we yarn over and pull through both loops. And this is a herringbone half double crochet stitch. To do it again, we yarn over, insert our hook into the stitch, and then we yarn over again, pull our hook out of the loop, we pass our first loop through our second loop, like so, and now we just yarn over and pull through the remaining 2 loops on our hook. You're going to crochet one of these into every stitch of your chain until you work your way completely around the round. Again, this is called a half double crochet herringbone stitch. It's a really long name, but this is the stitch we're going to use for the entire pattern, or nearly the entire pattern, at least the body of the sweater and the sleeves and the pouch. So practice it a few times and then we'll keep going. So I've worked my way around. Here are all my stitches. As you can see, I'm left with 1 stitch. So I'm just going to do the same, yarn over, insert my hook into the stitch, yarn over again, pull through, pull my first loop through my second loop, and then yarn over and pull through 2. If you didn't catch that, go back a few minutes into the video and you'll be able to see how I did the stitch again. We need to close our round, so we're going to skip this stitch right here. That's just the chain 1 from our previous row. And you see this next stitch, we're going to go into the stitch right above it. So we insert our hook, yarn over, and we're going to pull our hook out of our stitch. We're going to pass the first loop through the second loop, like so, and now we've made a slip stitch. So we're going to end every round with a slip stitch, and we will begin every round with a chain 1. So here's my chain 1 to begin the round. I'm going to go into this next stitch right in here, and I'm going to make another half double crochet herringbone stitch. So yarn over, let me get a little bit closer so you can see. It's this stitch right over here, and we're going to stitch into every single one of these stitches. So we skip this guy and we go into this one over here, which is the one right next to it. Now we insert our hook, yarn over, we're going to pass the first loop through the second loop, and now we just yarn over and pull through 2. So again, yarn over, insert our hook into the stitch, yarn over, pass the first loop through the second loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So we're going to crochet one of these into every one of the stitches, and this is going to be and it's not the whole way around, so depending on what size you are making, we're going to make one of the sides. So for me, I'm going to be making this is the size 4, so I will need to make 24 herringbone half double crochet stitches. I'm just going to call them these stitches because this is the same one we're going to be using. So I'm going to be making 24 of these stitches before I get to my first corner. So I have to make a little corner so that we can start making the space for the sleeve. So I'm working on the back side right now of my sweatshirt. So I'll just keep stitching here until I have 24 of these, and then I will see you when I'm done. So I've made 23 of these herringbone half double crochets, and I'm going to go make number 24, and on the 24th stitch, so here's 23, we're going to go next to it, 24. On the 24th stitch, we're going to make 2 of these stitches in one. So here's my first one. Now I have to make a second one because we're making an increase. So here's a second one in the same stitch. So it's going to be 2 of them. So here we go. See, it's 2 of these in the same stitch because it's going to start making the back side wider. And now we chain 2, and we're going to go into stitch number 25. right in here. And we're going to do the same. We're going to stitch 2 half double crochet herringbone stitches into the same stitch. So I've got 1 and now 2, and there we go. So this is going to count as stitch number 1 because I need to crochet 16 of them. This is the sleeve, so look at the measurements that you need for your size and crochet as many as you need for the sleeve. So in my case, I need 16. So I'm going to crochet 16 of these, and I will see you again in just a moment. Alright, so I've got 16 of these bad boys. Here they are. And now I'm on stitch 15, so let's go into stitch number 16, which is this one, and we're going to do what we did in the last increase. So this is going to create a little corner, and it's going to separate our sleeve from the back and front side of our sweatshirt. So I'm going to make 2 stitches in 1. So here's my second one, and I'll close my stitch. There we go. So now we have 2 of these in the 1 stitch. Chain 2. Go into stitch number 17, or what would be number 17, and I'm going to make 2 more. So now we're going to start working on the front side of our sweatshirt. So here's my second one. And now that that's done, there we go. See, we've got this one, chain 2, and we finished off with 2 more. Now the one we just did, this counts as stitch number 1. Now I'm going to crochet 24. So that's 1, we got 2, here we go, 3, and so forth until I make 24. So I'm on 23, now this is stitch number 24. So on stitch number 24, we're going to do the same thing we did in all other corners. So I'm just going to crochet 2 of them, chain 2, go into the next stitch, and crochet 2 more. So this should be the last, or almost last corner, penultimate corner, I guess, corner number 3. There we go. And I'm just going to finish until I get all the way to this end over here, and I'll show you how to attach or how to connect your corners. So I'll keep crocheting. I should have 16 stitches to crochet. Great, so I had 15, so here's number 15 and 16. So I'm on stitch 16 over here. So I'll crochet my 2 stitches in 1. There we go. Now here's that first stitch that I need to start my row. So I'm going to chain 2, skip this chain 1. So this is the very first chain 1 we did at the very beginning of the row. Skip it. And we're going to make 1 more half double crochet herringbone stitch right either under it or right next to it, whichever is easiest for you. And now go into the stitch right next to it, close off our round with a slip stitch. So first loop through the second loop, and we've closed our round. So I'm going to pull back here a bit and zoom out so that you can see what our pattern is going to start to look like. So this is the shape we're just going to keep expanding on. So we have the back and the front of our sweatshirt. These little corners are going to help separate the sleeve from the front and the back side. So see, we have one in every corner, and those will eventually become the bottom part of our sleeve. So we're going to sew them together to make the armpit. Then we have our sides in the back and front. So we're just going to keep expanding on this same pattern that we just did for this previous row. You're going to make this over and over and over again until you get to the height that you need. To get the measurement, go into, check the sizing chart on the blog. So we're going to start with a chain 1 every time. Always start with the chain 1 and then just crochet all the way until you get to the corner. So I'm going to keep crocheting until I reach that first corner, and then I'm going to show you one last time how you're going to work your stitches into every one of the corners. You're going to do this over and over again, so I'll just show you one more time how to do it. So we got our 2 stitches in this one, chain 2, and then 2 more. But let me keep crocheting, I'll get there and I'll show you one more time. So to work your corner stitches, and this is for every single one of the corner stitches, it's 2 of the half double crochet herringbone stitches in the last stitch, followed by a chain 2 And then after the chain space, you're going to make 2 more of the half double crochet herringbone stitches. You're going to do this in every single one of the corners. So as you work your way around the top part of the sweater, just do this in every corner. So 4 times every single one of your rows. So I've made my way completely around. I did my last stitch and I've got my chain 2, so now I just have to close my stitch. So from here on out, you see this little stitch here on the side? Right in there. That is where I'm going to make my last 2 stitches. So it's 2 of them after my chain 2. There we go. And now you see we have an extra stitch that we didn't have in the previous round. We're going to make another half double crochet herringbone stitch in that stitch. And now we're going to skip this tiny little stitch right here. Notice that it doesn't have a stitch under it. We're going to skip it because that's the chain 1 that we make at the beginning of the row, this one, and go into the next stitch and slip stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and finish my round. So skip, go into this one, and make a slip stitch. So just yarn over, pull through the stitch, and then pull the first loop through the second loop, and that is our next round. So here is how it looks. This is 2 rows in. As you can see, it's now gotten bigger, and we're going to keep going around and around until you get to the length that you need. To measure it, measure your corner. I need about 6 inches in order to have the size that I need for the top of my sweater, because I am making this as a size 4. So I will need to make about 6 inches worth of this pattern. So keep working on this. As you can see, it's really easy. It's the same stitch over and over. It's really stretchy. So if you think you've made a mistake and you made it a little bit too small, don't worry, this stitch does stretch. Alright, so I've worked several rows of this same stitch. And now I can measure my corner. Here we go. From corner to corner, it is 6 inches, and that is exactly what I need for a size 4 sweater. So, and now that I have the measurement, I'll go through and just check this. This is about 12-ish inches. That's the sleeve, so that's about what I need, and that's on the sizing chart that's on the blog. And this is about 14. So I have got the size that I need. I can stop crocheting this part. Now we're going to keep crocheting the rest of the body. So to do that, we're going to have to attach the armpit part together. So I'm going to chain 1 and continue stitching until I get to the corner. So just repeat your half double crochet herringbone stitch until you get to the corner. And then at the corner, we're going to attach the 2 corners together to make the armpit part. And then you'll have a very clear distinction between your sleeve and the front and back of your sweater. So I'm going to crochet here for a minute longer until I get to the end. But this is essentially what we're going to do. Get all the way around, and we'll attach the corners. Alright, I've worked to the entire back side of the sweatshirt. I also worked the corner stitches, so I did the first corner stitches, the sleeve, and now I'm at the second corner stitch. So I'm going to work my 2 herringbone stitches, and then I've got my chain 2, skip the chain space, and I'm going to make 1 of the half double crochet stitches. Just 1, because we are going to now join the 2 corners together. So make sure that you're putting together the corners that make up the sleeve and not the back side. So they're the shorter corners, or the shorter sides, sorry, the corners to the shortest sides. So line them up so that you have these little chain spaces are lined up. So this one is lined up with the one we're working on here. So we're going to make our second half double crochet stitch while joining the 2 sides together. Sounds confusing, but it's quite simple. So here's how we're going to do it. You're going to yarn over like you normally would, insert your hook into the stitch just like you would in any other stitch, but now you're going to include the other corner. So go into this stitch right next to the chain space, so the very first one after the chain space, insert your hook there. Now yarn over and pull your loop through the stitch. And now you just finish the stitch like you normally would. So the first loop through the second loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And now you have joined the sleeves. So I'm going to crochet a couple more stitches and then I'll show you how it looks. So I'm working into the front side of our sweater now. So I'll do these few stitches. There we go. We're going to keep working the rest of the side the same way. And here's what our sleeve is going to look like. So here's the armpit part and the whole round of the sleeve. So you're going to do the exact same thing on the next sleeve. So work all the way through the front side of the sweatshirt, do the first corner, go around the sleeve, and do the exact same thing on the second corner. I'll see you when we finish. So I finished the second sleeve, and as you can see, I've attached it in the same way that I attached the first sleeve. So we've closed them off, and then I worked the rest of the back part of my sweatshirt until I've reached the beginning of the round. So here's the beginning of the round. I'm just going to finish it off like I do all my other rounds. So I'll make the half double crochets all the way till I get to the end, and then I skip this chain space, go into the next stitch over, and we're just going to make a slip stitch. Sorry, you don't need to yarn over, it's just a slip stitch. So insert your hook, then yarn over, and just finish your slip stitch. So we have finished this last round, and from here on out we're just going to work the body of our sweater. So let me zoom out and show you what we've got so far. So we've got the sleeves, and the sleeves are now, they're done, they're ready to go. We have to do the rest of the sleeve later, but for now, we're going to start working the body of the sweater. So as you can see, there are stitches that go all the way around, and it's the same on the other side. So we're going to crochet a stitch into every one of these stitches all the way around and go around the other side. So we're just going to keep working around and around, and we're going to ignore the sleeves. So don't worry about the sleeves for a while. We're going to crochet the sleeves separately and then attach them. So here is what the bottom part or the armpit looks like. So we're going to make 2 of the herringbone stitches, 1 in this space right here, and then 2 on the other side. We're only going to do this for 1 row to just give it a little bit of an increase, just to make it just a little bit wider. And then the rest of the row for the body, we're just going to make 1 stitch every time. So I just worked my way all the way around until I reached the first sleeve, and here's what we're going to do for this one round. So I've got this last stitch right here, and this is right next to this little gap, which is the one stitch we joined the armpit with. And we're going to make 2 of these half double crochet stitches. So we'll work 2 of our stitches into the last stitch before we get to this space right over here. So here's where we joined our armpit part, and we're just going to work 1 stitch into this little space. So it's almost like a chain space, but not. So just make 1 stitch in here, and we close out the stitch. And now in the stitch right next to it, right over here, this guy, you're going to make 2 more of them. So we'll make 2 of our stitches into this one. So it's the one right next to it. So the idea is to keep it as round as possible. So right in here, we're going to insert our hook, yarn over, and work our first half double crochet stitch, and then we're going to make a second one in that same stitch. So it's going to be 2 stitches, 1 in that space, and then 2 on the other side. And now we've made the round. So I'm going to keep crocheting now 1 stitch per stitch like we normally do until I get to the other arm, and do the exact same thing on the other arm. So here's what it looks like now. And see, it's now created a little edge that has separated the sleeve from the body of the sweater. So now all we have to worry about is lengthening the body part of the sweater, and the sleeves will be separate. So I've worked my way around again just so I can show you. I changed the lighting in case anyone couldn't see. Let me zoom in again. So I'm at the other armpit part, and I'm on the last stitch before the armpit part. So I'm going to make 2 of the half double crochet stitches. There we go, in that last stitch. And in this space right in here, so it kind of looks like a chain space, right in there we're going to make 1 half double crochet stitch. And then in the right here in that stitch right next to it, remember that we're trying to keep a nice even round for under the arm part. So right in that first stitch right next to the one we just worked, we're going to make 2 more half double crochet stitches. And these are the same ones that we've been working with, the half double crochet herringbone stitch. So I'll finish that stitch. There we go, and we are done. So we have finished this other round. I gotta get my yarn in order. And now I'm just going to keep crocheting 1 stitch in every stitch until I work my way to the end of the round. So right up to here. So I'll just keep crocheting and I'll see you again in a moment. So this is where we're at right now on our sweater. We've made these nice little rounds and we've done both sides. So here's one side, here's the other, and now we're just going to keep working around and around and ignoring the sleeves. So we're not going to touch the sleeves anymore. We're just going to lengthen the body of our sweater. The sleeves, they're going to be separate, so we're just going to keep lengthening this part to just create a greater difference between the sleeve and the body. We'll get to the sleeves in a minute. We're just going to keep working here. So I've worked my way around to the sleeve again. So chain 1 and make a half double crochet until you get to the sleeves. So this is how we're going to work the sleeves from now on. So last row we did the 2 stitches in 1, and then we did 1 in the chain space and then 2. From here on out we're just going to crochet 1 half double crochet in every stitch. So as you can see me working here, I'm just done the 1. So I'll keep working a few more and then show you what the bottom part of our or the part under the sleeve is going to look like. Because it's just going to turn, it's going to become just a cylindrical shape at this point, like so, see? So we've increased everything we needed to increase, and it's all going to be cylindrical now. So now you can see there's a greater space between the sleeve and the body of our sweater. So now we can go around and around and not have to worry about the sleeves anymore. So I'm going to keep working until I finish my row. I'll meet you when I get here. So I worked my way around. See, I did the other sleeve, now they're both even, and I'm here where our round meets the beginning of the round. So since we're now just going to be working in a cylindrical shape, so we're going to finish the body, we don't need to do the chain 1 over and over again because it's going to keep moving the beginning part of our row. So we kind of want to end that so that we can cover it with the front pocket. So what we're going to do instead is, instead of skipping all of these stitches, we're just going to go into the chain space right over here. We're going to try to find a way to go under in the stitch right below it, and we're going to make another half double crochet. So don't skip it this time. Make another half double crochet into that stitch. Now go into the next stitch and make another half double crochet. So we're going to start to smooth out this chain 1 space. So it's going to take about another 2 rows before it's completely gone, but from now on you just have to make 1 stitch per stitch. Instead of having to worry about closing your round, you just keep stitching. So keep going round and round until you've gotten to the length that you need for the body of your sweater. So this will smoothen out in about another row or 2. It'll become really even and really straight, and you can just keep working in the round now without having to worry about a chain 1. So I'm going to keep working until I reach the length I need. So here we are. I've worked all the way around and I've made it to one side. So this is a nice straight edge. I made several rows. I don't even know how many rows I've made, but I'll give you the length here in just a minute. So I'm doing this one-handed, so it's a little difficult. Otherwise I can't get all of this with my camera while it's on the tripod. So it's over 12 inches, so between 12 to 13 inches is about where I need it to be for it to be the right length and for at least for a size 4. So I just kept making rows until I got to row 13 inches-ish. We're going to work the top part of the sweater later, and then our pocket is going to go here in the front. So I'll show you how to do those later, and then we'll also do the sleeves. But for now, we're going to have to work the base of our sweater. So for anyone who's curious, my sweater across is just over 12 inches. And let's measure this top part again now that I've got two hands. And we're almost at the 13-inch mark. So the top part is about 6 inches across, so that's the neck part. And what we're going to do now is the ribbing at the bottom of our sweatshirt. So work your way all the way to get to under one of the arms, any arm that you want to. We're just going to start the ribbing part. So to start the ribbing part, we're just going to go into the stitch right after the one we finished on. Let me get a little bit closer. Also turn on another light here so everybody can see. So we're going to go into the stitch right next to the one that we were just working into. So this one right in here, and we're going to make a slip stitch. So we insert your hook, yarn over and pull through your stitch, and then pull your first loop through your second loop to make a slip stitch. So now that that's done, we're going to start making double crochets. So we're going to have to start with a chain 2. So chain 1 and chain 2. Now let me move all of this so you can see. For our double crochet, we're going to go into this next stitch. So we're going to make one in every one of the stitches. To do so, you yarn over, hold it with your index finger if you need to, insert your stitch, insert your hook into the stitch and yarn over. Then pull your hook out. You've got 3 loops. For the double crochet, you yarn over and you pull through 2 loops. And then you're going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops. I'll do another one. Yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull your hook out. You've got 3 loops on your hook. So you're going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. This is a double crochet. You're going to need to make 1 double crochet in every stitch of the round. So if you need to see it one more time, yarn over and go into the next stitch, yarn over and pull your hook out, then you're going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Keep making a double crochet until you work your way all the way around the round. I've made my way completely around, and now I have one last stitch right down here to work. So I'll make that last double crochet, and we're going to finish, well, we're going to close off the round. So in this one we do need to close off the round in order to keep the ribbing neat and even. So skip this whole chain space. Oh, I've got one more. There we go. Okay, so you're going to skip this chain right over here. See, there's one stitch and the second stitch of the chain. Go into the next stitch. So here's our post and here's our stitch. Go into the stitch and you're going to slip stitch. So insert your hook, yarn over, and then pull your first loop through your second loop. And we've closed our round. For our next round, we're going to chain 2. This is how you're going to start every round after this. Chain 2. Now we're only going to work on the posts. So before we were working in the stitches, now we're working down here, which is the post, not on the stitch. So this is a stitch, ignore these, work on the posts. So we're going to make a half double, or it's a front post double crochet, front post double crochet. So yarn over, and you're going to go behind this first post. So insert your hook right behind the post, like so, and then you're going to yarn over and pull your hook out. You're going to be left with the 3 loops just like you are with a regular double crochet. So we're going to close the stitch by yarn over, pull 2, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through 2. So here's our front post double crochet. In the next stitch, you're going to make a back post double crochet. So back post double crochet, so you yarn over, you're going to insert your hook in front of the post because now you want to push it back. So push the post back. So here's the post. This is what it looks like in the front. See, we've pushed our post backward. Now we yarn over, pull our hook out, and we've got our 3 loops. So we're going to yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over and pull through 2, and that will complete our back post double crochet. The stitch after that is going to be a front post double crochet. So what we're going to do is a front post followed by a back post followed by a front post and then a back post, and so forth and so on until we work our way completely around the bottom part of our sweatshirt. This is what's going to create a nice ribbed look. So for a front post, you yarn over, insert your hook behind the post, then you're going to yarn over again, pull your hook out. You've got 3 loops, so we yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. There's our front post. Our next one is going to be a back post double crochet, so yarn over, insert your hook in front of the post and push it backward. Now you yarn over, you've got your 3 loops, and you just close your double crochet. So yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So we have a front post, a back post, a front post, a back post. Keep alternating between front posts and back posts until you finish the round. If you still need to see it one more time, I'll do one more with you. So here's our next post. So we're going to make it a front post. So you yarn over, you're going to go behind the post and push it forward. So you're going to push it towards the front, yarn over, you've got your 3 loops now, and you just close your stitch. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. The next one is a back post. So yarn over, come in front of your post and push it backward. So now that it's pushed back, you're going to yarn over. See, that's what it looks like when you push your post back. So yarn over and pull through, and now you just yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Keep working this way. I'll see you when I finish my round. So I've made it all the way around, and I've got my last few posts here. So I've got a front post, so I'll make one more back post double crochet in the next stitch, and I'm going to finish my row with a front post double crochet. So there we go. We have now completed our round. Here's our chain space. We're going to skip this. All right, this is our chain 2 really. And we're going to go into the next stitch. So here's the top of the stitch. This is where we're going to insert our hook and slip stitch. So we've closed our round. Here we go. We've made front and back post stitches in every one of the double crochets. We're going to start our next row with a chain 2. So this row, we're just extending our post. So see, this is a front post. So front post, front post, front post. We're going to keep working these as front posts. These guys right next to them are back post double crochets. You can tell because there's a little piece of yarn going through the middle of it. If you can't tell still, turn it sideways and you'll see the front post stick out and the back post kind of dip. So for every front post, you will be crocheting another front post double crochet. In every back post, you will crochet a back post double crochet. So this very first one, we're just going to make a front post double crochet. So we've yarned over and we insert our hook behind the post. We yarn over again and we close our double crochet. So yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. This next one is a back post. See, it's kind of hidden back here. We're going to crochet in these bottom squares. Not these guys, ignore these guys. This top part up here, remember that we're crocheting into the post and not in the stitches. So ignore these top ones. We're going to crochet into this bottom set right down here. So let me get my hook back in my work and let's do this. So for the back post, we yarn over and we're going to go in front of our post, push the post backward like so, yarn over, pull our hook out, and then we just close our double crochet. So we yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over, pull through 2. So there was our back post. The next one's a front post. See right here, it's the same idea. You're just going to go behind this top part, so the top half of the post. So you slip your hook in front of the post, pull yarn over, pull out, and you've got the rest of the stitch to finish. So you yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. The next stitch is a back post, so we're going to crochet that as a back post double crochet. And And there we go. See, you're just extending the posts. So repeat the same stitch that you've got on this row. So let me change the light a bit, see if it helps in case you can't quite see it. So that's a front post, this is a back post. So let's work the next front post double crochet. So we just yarn over, insert our hook behind the post, push the post forward. We've got our 3 loops and we just yarn over, pull through 2 and yarn over, pull through 2. Going to the next one, it's a back post. So we yarn over, insert our hook in front of the post and push it backward. And now we just yarn over, pull our hook out, and we close our stitch. Keep working alternating front and back post double crochets over and over again. So finish this row and then remember to close your row with a slip stitch, chain 2 and start over again. Make the ribbing as wide as you want. So this is just the bottom part ribbing of your sweatshirt. Make as many rows of this as you want. You're going to do the same thing, just extend your rows over and over for as many rows as you'd like. So I'm on my last post and I've repeated this row several times. So the last row I showed you, I've repeated it over and over again until I've made the ribbing as wide as I wanted. So now I'm here at the end and I'm going to do my last slip stitch and we're going to cut a nice long piece of thread. This is so that we can knot it up and then just weave in our ends. So we're going to chain 1 and we're going to pull on that little knot that we have at the bottom. So there we go. So with this long end, we're going to weave it in here in just a minute. Let me show you what our work looks like so far. So here's the ribbing at the bottom of our sweatshirt. I've made it about 1 3/4 inches almost. It's under 2 inches. If you want, you can make it wider than that. That's up to you. All right, I'm going to now measure this so everybody knows kind of where we're at. So I ended at over 13 inches, so we're pretty close to 14 inches, and this is where I'm going to stop. This is also where we're going to end today's tutorial because it's been quite long. Tune in next week. We're going to make the pouch, the sleeves, and the neckline for this sweatshirt. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. I post videos every week. Next week's tutorial will be available on Thursday. If you want to see the written pattern for this, it is up on my blog. The link to my blog is in the description box below, and it's modebespoke.blogspot.com. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to just leave them down below. I'm happy to answer all your questions, and I read all of your comments, so be sure to leave them if you have them. Like the video. I love it when you do. It makes me feel super special when you hit that like button. Check out my work on Instagram. I am on Instagram. It is @mode.bespoke. You can get a preview to all of the projects we're going to be working on, as well as to check out all the personal items I have been making since I started crocheting many years ago. So check that out on Instagram. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again next week.